In a packed courtroom buzzing with tension, a powerful judge suddenly delivers a shocking order. "Take her into custody." Gasps fill the room as Pam Bondi stands frozen, her freedom hanging by a thread. Just when it seems the decision is final, something unbelievable happens. What triggered the judge's sudden reversal? And why did it happen moments before the jail doors could swing open? Stay with us. This twist is one you won't see coming. In a courtroom, a judge holds a position of great responsibility and authority. This role includes making decisions that can deeply affect people's lives, including whether someone should be fined, held in contempt, or even sent to jail. Q. A particular day, a legal proceeding took an unexpected turn when a federal judge suddenly decided that jail time was necessary for someone present in the courtroom. This choice was not just a warning or a threat. It was a direct and serious order. It happened quickly, and it showed how much power a judge can use when a situation seems to demand immediate control. In this case, the judge involved had a long-standing reputation for being firm and disciplined in her courtroom. She had handled many sensitive and high-profile cases in the past, and she was known for making her decisions based on the rules of law and courtroom conduct. During this specific proceeding, the atmosphere became tense. There may have been actions or words that crossed the line of what is considered acceptable in a court of law. When someone appears to challenge the authority of the court, or when their behavior seems to interrupt the legal process, a judge can react strongly. That is what happened here. The judge believed that the courtroom's order and respect were being disrupted. In a place where law and order must be preserved at all times, even small disruptions can be taken seriously. The judge saw what she believed to be unacceptable behavior or defiance, and as a result, she made the serious decision to issue a jail order. This type of order does not come lightly, and it usually reflects the judge's view that the court's dignity and process are being harmed. Courtrooms operate under strict rules, and everyone present must follow certain guidelines. This includes speaking only when allowed, following instructions, and respecting the judge's authority at all times. If someone speaks out of turn, disrespects the process, or ignores legal warnings, a judge may use the power of contempt. Being held in contempt of court can lead to fines or jail time, depending on how serious the behavior is. In this moment, the judge made a judgment call that the situation was serious enough to warrant jail time, even if only for a short while. Such a decision can be shocking to those in the room. Court staff, attorneys, and others may not expect such a quick reaction, but the law gives judges the right to act fast when necessary. It is part of their duty to protect the integrity of the courtroom and to ensure that legal proceedings are not interrupted or disrespected. In this instance, the decision to try and send someone to jail happened in real time, likely based on what the judge witnessed or heard. This event is a powerful example of how quickly things can shift in a courtroom. One moment, the situation might seem under control, and the next it escalates to the point where a judge feels compelled to take strong action. The use of judicial authority in such moments is not about personal feelings. It is about maintaining order and upholding the seriousness of the law. When a judge makes the decision to jail someone on the spot, it often means they see the action as necessary to preserve the legal process. The individual who was nearly jailed was likely shocked, along with others in the room. Even experienced legal professionals may be caught off guard by such a swift turn of events, but these moments are reminders that the courtroom is a place of rules, and those rules are enforced strictly by the person sitting on the bench. Judges are given a great deal of trust, and with that trust comes the ability to act without delay if they believe justice requires it. The situation also serves as a lesson about courtroom behavior and expectations. No matter who is present, lawyers, witnesses, or others, they must all follow the same standards. A judge's responsibility includes making sure those standards are met at all times. If anyone, regardless of their role, steps outside those limits, they can face immediate consequences. This kind of decision also shows the emotional weight and complexity of courtroom work. While the judge may seem firm and strict, the process of making such a decision is rarely simple. It involves a careful judgment of what is happening in the moment, how it affects the legal process, and what action must be taken to protect the authority of the court. In this case, the choice to attempt jail time was one made in a flash under pressure, based on the judge's understanding of the seriousness of the behavior before her. In any courtroom, when a judge makes a serious decision, such as trying to send someone to jail, that decision must be directed at a specific person. It does not happen to a random member of the public. It happens to someone who is directly involved in the legal process, or someone whose actions during that process raise a legal concern. In the situation being described, the person at the center of the judge's strong reaction was Pam Bondi. Her presence in the courtroom and whatever actions or statements she made played a major role in what followed. The judge did not just respond to the environment or to general disorder. The decision was aimed clearly at one individual, and that individual was Pam Bondi. When someone like Pam Bondi is involved in a court case, whether as a speaker, a legal representative, or even in another official capacity, their actions are closely watched. Every word spoken and every move made in front of the judge carries weight. Courtrooms are built on structure, and the people inside them are expected to follow strict rules. If someone steps outside those rules, especially during a sensitive or important hearing, the judge may take that very seriously. In this case, the judge's attention became sharply focused on Pam Bondi, and a decision was made to try and place her in jail. That kind of decision suggests that something she said or did was viewed as crossing a line that should not be crossed in court. This shows how accountability works in legal settings. No one is above the court's expectations, not lawyers, not public figures, not individuals with a strong presence. When someone is in the courtroom, they are expected to follow the same legal boundaries as everyone else. That includes showing respect for the judge, not interrupting the process, and following orders exactly as they are given. If the judge believes that someone has violated those expectations in a serious way, it can lead to an immediate response. In this case, that response was aimed at Pam Bondi, and it was not a warning. It was a direct attempt to hold her in custody. This decision was not vague or uncertain. It was clear and specific. The courtroom was not dealing with a broad disruption or confusion. The judge identified one person and acted upon that. The legal system depends on this kind of clarity. A judge must be able to say who is responsible for a disruption and what legal steps will be taken as a result. Here, the focus was on Pam Bondi, and she became the target of a sudden and serious legal decision. That decision was later reversed. But in the moment, it was fully real and fully directed at her. Pam Bondi's involvement also teaches an important lesson about the legal risks that come with participating in courtroom matters. Even experienced public figures or legal professionals can find themselves facing unexpected consequences if their behavior is seen as inappropriate or defiant. This situation highlights how quickly things can change for someone, no matter their status or background. Just being familiar with the law does not protect someone from being held accountable in a courtroom setting. If the judge believes there has been a violation of courtroom conduct, the rules apply equally to all. It is important to understand that this kind of decision, trying to send someone like Pam Bondi to jail, is not made without reason. A judge must feel that the situation demands a strong and immediate action. That usually means the person has been warned, or that their conduct has clearly broken the court's standards. This suggests that the judge saw something in Pam Bondi's behavior that reached a critical point. Whether it was the tone of her voice, the words she used, or the timing of her actions, the judge believed the courtroom's order was in danger and responded to that belief by singling her out. The law gives judges this power for a reason. Without it, courts could lose control during important proceedings. The authority to punish behavior that harms the courtroom environment must be available at all times. So, when the judge chose to act, she did so with confidence, and her target was not a group. It was Pam Bondi as an individual. Her actions stood out, and the response came directly as a result of what she did. This moment serves as an example of how responsibility is personal in court. No matter how many people are present, a judge can pinpoint a single person and apply legal action directly to them. In this case, the spotlight fell on Pam Bondi. and the attempt to place her in jail was tied directly to her conduct. The speed of the judge's reaction and the seriousness of the action show that it was not about general behavior. It was about her specific involvement and the judge's reaction to that involvement. When a judge announces that someone will be sent to jail, it is usually a very serious step. Once that kind of order is given, the next action is often immediate. Officers in the courtroom may take the person into custody and remove them from the courtroom. But there are rare moments when this process does not go as far as expected. Sometimes the jail order is made, but something causes a change before it is fully carried out. That is exactly what happened in this situation. The judge gave a direct order to send someone to jail, but that order did not go all the way through. The person at the center of the judge's action, Pam Bondi, was not actually jailed in the end. The decision stopped just before it was fully executed. This kind of event is not common, but it can happen when circumstances shift quickly in a courtroom. In this case, the judge clearly felt that jail was the appropriate response to something that had just taken place. The moment was likely intense, with emotions running high and the need for control in the courtroom being very strong. But something caused the process to pause or reverse before the final step was completed. That could mean the judge had second thoughts, new information came forward, or another legal reason appeared that made jail less necessary. The title of this event tells us that the judge tried to jail Pam Bondi. The word tried is very important here. It means there was an attempt, a serious intention, but it also means the action did not reach the final result. For someone to be jailed, they must be taken into custody, processed by court officers, and either held in a courtroom holding area or taken to a detention facility. In this case, that did not happen. The judge spoke the words or gave the order, but before the process was carried out, something changed. It is important to understand what it means when a jail order is not fully carried out. This does not mean the person is free of consequences, forever. It simply means that in that moment, the judge decided not to continue with the plan. That might have been due to a legal advisor speaking up, a sudden apology, or a change in the courtroom atmosphere. Judges are allowed to stop or change their decisions if they believe it is the right thing to do. The legal system allows for quick decisions, but it also allows for quick corrections, especially when fairness or legal rules are being reconsidered. Sometimes an attempted jail order can be a warning more than a punishment. The judge might want to show the seriousness of the situation without actually putting the person behind bars. This strategy can be used to calm the courtroom, to reset the tone, or to remind everyone that certain actions have consequences. In this story, it seems the judge was very close to following through with the order, but something made her stop before it happened. That shows how quickly things can change in court, and how even strong decisions can be adjusted when needed. This also highlights the weight of the moment. For a judge to even try to send someone to jail, the situation must have reached a critical level. But when the order is not completed, it signals that the situation may have shifted just enough to avoid that extreme outcome. It leaves everyone in the room with a very clear message. Jail was not just a possibility, it was almost a reality. That alone can be a powerful way to reestablish control in the courtroom and make sure all participants take the legal process seriously from that point forward. The fact that the decision was not completed also opens up a conversation about how justice works in real time. Legal decisions are not always made slowly. Sometimes they happen in seconds, but just as quickly, they can be changed, especially if the judge believes that a different outcome will better serve justice. In this event, the legal action taken against Pam Bondi stopped short of physical custody. That tells us that while the judge made a firm choice, she also used her judgment to step back before the court officers took the next step. Courtrooms are places where decisions carry deep meaning. Even an attempted action like jail can have a big effect. It shows the seriousness of the courtroom, the authority of the judge, and the risks involved in not following courtroom rules. But when such a decision is not carried out, it also shows flexibility, reflection, and a deeper look at what justice really means in that moment. In this case, the person at the center of the order walked away without being taken to jail, but the experience was no doubt a sharp reminder of how close the law can come to real consequences. even when those consequences are stopped at the last moment. In a courtroom, decisions made by a judge carry great power. When a judge gives an order, that order is expected to be followed without delay. In the case of a jail order, this means the person is usually taken into custody right away. But sometimes a judge may change their mind soon after making such a strong decision. That's what happened in this situation. A jail order was given, but then it was taken back only moments later. The reversal happened so quickly that it became part of the same event. This shows how fast things can change in court and how the legal process allows for a judge to rethink a decision when new thoughts or information come into play. In this case, the judge decided to take back the jail order shortly after making it. This action was not planned in advance, and it was not something that developed over a long period of time. It was immediate. The decision to reverse came almost right after the first decision was made. This means the entire event, from the order to the reversal, took place in a very short window. That kind of moment is rare, but it is possible in a courtroom setting. Judges are given the ability to correct or stop their own orders if they believe that doing so is in the best interest of justice. There are many reasons why a judge might take back such a decision. Sometimes, after giving an order, the judge might realize it was made too quickly. In a courtroom filled with tension or disagreement, emotions can rise, and a judge may react strongly. But once a few seconds pass and things calm slightly, the judge may choose to reassess the situation. Another possible reason is that someone in the courtroom, such as a lawyer, clerk, or officer, might have spoken up or offered new insight that changed the judge's thinking. The judge might also consider whether the punishment fits the action or whether another response would be more appropriate. Reversing a jail order is a powerful example of how a courtroom can operate in real time. The judge has the final say, in most matters, but that doesn't mean every decision is final the moment it is spoken. In fact, the law gives judges room to change their rulings if needed, especially before any action has been fully completed. In this situation, the judge had every intention to follow through on the jail order, but decided against it just in time. That moment of reconsideration can be just as important as the original order, because it shows careful thinking and a willingness to adapt to the moment. This quick change also highlights how serious the situation must have been. For a judge to give a jail order, the behavior in court must have been seen as highly inappropriate or disrespectful. Judges don't hand out jail orders casually. So when the decision was made, it came from a place of strong belief that it was necessary. But pulling back from that decision moments later shows a high level of control and responsibility. It means the judge was not acting on anger alone, but was instead willing to weigh the consequences of such a decision even after it was spoken. For those in the courtroom, this sudden reversal likely brought a mix of surprise and relief. The person who was nearly jailed avoided being taken into custody, but the message from the judge was still very clear. The courtroom is a serious place. Orders can be given in an instant, and even if they are taken back, their meaning remains. The judge's voice carries the weight of the law, and anyone present knows that the situation was on the edge of becoming something much more severe. This kind of event shows how quickly courtroom dynamics can shift. One moment can change everything. The order to jail someone is not just a legal act, it's a moment of high emotion, control, and law. When that order is reversed so fast, it becomes a powerful example of balance. The judge showed the strength to act and the wisdom to stop. That balance is at the heart of fair justice. The judge did not continue down a path just because it was already started. Instead, there was a clear pause, a decision to step back, and a choice to let the situation de-escalate. This reminds everyone watching that a courtroom is not just about punishment. It is also about judgment in its deeper sense. Judgment means thinking carefully, making sure the law is applied with care and fairness. When a strong order like jail is reversed so quickly, it leaves behind a powerful impression. The person involved might not face jail that day, but they, and everyone else present, learn a lasting lesson about the seriousness of the courtroom and the responsibility that comes with speaking or acting inside it. A courtroom is a place where actions and decisions are taken seriously. Everything that happens inside those walls carries meaning, especially when it involves a judge using their power. In this particular event, the judge made a dramatic move by trying to send someone to jail, but then quickly reversed that decision. Even though no one ended up behind bars, the moment was still very powerful. The person at the center of the judge's decision experienced something intense, a sudden shift from being free to almost being taken into custody. That shift, even without a jail sentence, left a strong impact. It felt just as serious as if the jail order had been completed. The reason this moment was so impactful is because of how quickly it happened and how close it came to becoming reality. The judge did not speak in vague terms or give a light warning. The order to jail was real, clear and spoken with authority. In court, when a judge gives an order like that, it is more than just words. It signals that the line of courtroom respect has been crossed. It means the judge believes that the actions or behavior in that moment were completely unacceptable. When the judge gave the jail order, everyone in the courtroom likely understood that something serious had happened. But then, just as quickly, the judge pulled the order back. This reversal did not make the moment any less intense. In fact, it made it more dramatic. The tension rose as the jail order was spoken, and then shifted again when it was taken back. Even though no one was taken away, the emotional experience of nearly being jailed can be powerful. It can create a moment of realization, a sudden awareness of how close someone came to facing serious legal consequences. This event becomes even more powerful because of who it happened to. The person targeted by the jail order was not an unknown individual. It was someone with a public role, a name recognized by many people. When someone in the public eye faces a strong legal reaction, it sends a broader message about how the court treats everyone equally. It also shows that status or popularity does not protect anyone from courtroom rules. When the judge gave the order and then changed it, it was still a message to everyone present and to anyone who hears about the event that no one is above courtroom discipline. What makes this moment even more important is how the near jailing became a key part of the courtroom story. Even though it lasted only a few moments, it became the focus of attention. People don't forget these kinds of moments. Legal experts, media, and members of the public take note when something unexpected happens in court, especially when it involves someone almost going to jail but not quite. It creates a lasting impression, not just about the person involved, but also about the way justice is carried out. This type of situation also raises deeper questions about the use of legal power. It shows how judges must constantly balance firm authority with fair judgment. The judge was ready to use the full weight of the law, but also ready to pull back when necessary. That balance is difficult, and it shows how much responsibility a judge carries. In one moment, they can decide someone's freedom. In the next, they can choose to stop that decision from taking effect. That power must be used with care, and, in this case, it was clear that the judge acted quickly and thoughtfully, even under pressure. The emotional effect of the near jailing should not be underestimated. For the person involved, even standing on the edge of custody is a moment that stays in the memory. It changes how someone sees the courtroom, the law, and their own behavior. It becomes a turning point, a reminder of what could have happened if things had gone just a little further. And for others in the room watching it unfold, it becomes a lesson in what the courtroom expects and what can happen when those expectations are not met. Moments like these also shape the public's view of the legal system. People often wonder how fair or firm the courts really are. When a judge comes so close to sending someone to jail and then quickly changes the decision, it sparks discussions about justice, power, and control. It reminds people that courtroom decisions are made by real individuals, in real time based on real behavior. The law is not just about rules on paper. It's about how those rules are applied, sometimes in fast-moving and emotional situations. This event showed that legal consequences do not always come in the form of jail time. Sometimes the possibility of jail, the fact that it was almost carried out, is enough to make a lasting impact. That moment between being free and being taken into custody can be more powerful than the act itself. It sends a message, not just to one person, but to everyone who watches, listens, or learns about what happened in that courtroom.